For Christ's sake, Josephine! Helen slammed both palms on the counter, sending the knife she had set down clattering into the sink. She drew a deep breath and turned to face Josie. I'm sorry, sweets. It's a rough day. Josie rolled her eyes and turned away. When isn't it? Don't you dare walk away from me when I'm yelling at me, reminding me how sorry we should all be for you, hating me for having a healthy... She stopped, raising a shocked hand to her mouth. A heart. That's what Josie meant. And the sad truth was, she was right. Helen hated every healthy person right now. Was that too much to allow her? She was 45 and she didn't anticipate seeing 50. She closed her eyes, took another deep breath and looked up. Josie had gone. Just another perfect fucking day in the Winslow house. Are you carrying your beeper with you? Dr. Meaden checked. Yep, I bet you 100 it'll finally buzz at my funeral, she said dryly. Dr. Meaden sighed and laid his pen down. You're still seeing Deborah? Deborah was a transplant therapy coach. So far as she could tell, her role seemed to consist of stating the obvious and, a little too hopefully in Helen's opinion, offering the Kleenex box. For my sins. And how about support at home? Home. She thought about her response. Well, Doc, I haven't had sex with my husband for a year, and if he isn't having an affair he probably should be, my daughter probably can't wait for me to die. Peachy! She snorted. Who the hell says peachy? Dr. Meaden looked confused and she shook her head, waved a hand as if to shoo the comment away. It's good. We're good. Well, keep that beeper handy, Helen. You never know when it'll happen. When, she noticed, not if. Was she the only realist these days? Josie was a little upset, Tom said after dinner. She dropped the spoons in the dishwasher and shrugged. She'll get over it. This isn't her fault, Helen, and she's hurting. His voice dropped. We're all hurting. Yeah, well, this isn't a Hallmark movie. He nodded, slowly, thoughtfully, and then hurled his wine glass at the wall. Josie! She heard him holler. Let's go to the movies! She couldn't stop herself raising her own glass in a silent toast as he backed the car out of the drive a couple of minutes later, trying to pretend she didn't care about the disgust in his eyes. Helen had been diagnosed with heart failure 5 months previously and placed on the transplant list. Her deterioration had been faster than anyone had anticipated. She was sure she was supposed to be the devoted wife and mother until the end, strengthen the family so they could survive their grief, make sure the final months, weeks, were full of special memories in case she didn't get a new heart. But this wasn't a Hallmark movie. She was grieving now, and she was surely entitled to that, if nothing else. She began mopping up red wine, shooing away Billy, their yappy dachshund. You'll end up bleeding or drunk, Billy, and there's only so much a woman can take. She threw away the damp kitchen roll and picked up her wine glass, knowing she shouldn't be drinking at all. At this stage it was hard to take rules seriously. Shouldn't she enjoy the time she had left, just in case? Just in case. That seemed to be her mantra these days. Sighing, she set the glass back down. If the beeper went, her whole life rested on whether or not the beeper went. She checked the battery for the 100th time that day, and then grabbed her glass. Fuck it, she muttered, raising the glass to her lips. The beeper went.